I've got some cooked shrimp that I bought at the supermarket. The tails were off. They were already peeled. Now that is my kind of cooking right there. I'm just chopping them into little bits, and that looks great. So this goes into a bowl. I'm gonna marinate the shrimp, and it's gonna make it super flavorful for the nachos. Now, of course, I've gotta add a bunch of other stuff. I have some diced jicama, which is like a Mexican turnip. I don't use jicama very often, but it is so cool and refreshing and crisp. I love it. I'm also adding some diced mango. You can use fresh mango, or you can buy the mango in jars. It's a little bit sweeter. I really like that mango, especially for mango margaritas. I'm adding some sliced green onion and jarred pimento, super simple ingredient. You can also use diced red bell pepper and then some cilantro leaves. All right, so that's the shrimp mixture. Now I'm gonna make the marinade, which is really easy. It's just half a cup of olive oil. And to the olive oil, I'll add a couple of tablespoons of honey and then 2 citrus juices, some orange juice and lime juice. I also zested the lime before I juiced it with salt and pepper, and then green hot sauce, sometimes called jalapeno hot sauce. I'll pour this over the shrimp. I may not need all of this, so I can save what's left over for a salad tomorrow. It's a really nice dressing. Oh, it's so pretty. So I'll cover the bowl, and I'll get this into the fridge, and it'll marinate slowly until party time when I assemble the nachos. So now I'll assemble the citrus shrimp nachos. I have some really nice tortilla chips. They're round. They're pretty substantial. You don't want to get a super thin chip. And I'm gonna give this beautiful shrimp mixture a stir. So I'll get a spoonful of the mixture and pile it right on top. Then I have some crumbled cotija cheese, which is sort of a Mexican version of feta cheese. And I'll add a few crumbles. And then I'll grab a little cilantro leaf and put it on top. Gorgeous. So gorgeous, in fact. I'm gonna make a whole platter of these.
I'm gonna make lemon pepper chicken with tofu and ranch sauce to dip it in. So I have some firm tofu here. Now that's very important because I really need it to hold up like chicken does. So to drain this and to make sure that all the excess liquid comes out of it, I have some paper towel at the bottom. I have the tofu on top of the paper towel. And what I did was put another tray on top and weigh it down with some cans so it can really soak up all of that liquid into the paper towels. So I have cut my tofu up into strips, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna get this tofu to taste just like chicken. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but in the supermarket, they carry vegan chicken flavored broth. So when I do fry it up, it's gonna have this beautiful crunchy coating on the outside, and it's gonna taste just like chicken on the inside. Add my tofu to this and let it marinate and soak up that chicken flavor. Now I'm gonna make my ranch sauce for my chicken strips. It's gonna taste just like ranch, I promise you. A little bit of vegan mayo, and I'm gonna use a little bit of almond milk unsweetened original, because almond milk does come in like vanilla flavors and other flavors. Get the unsweetened original. Some garlic powder, some dried parsley. I like to add dill, and a little goes a long way because it is dried. And I'm gonna use some onion powder. And then finish it off with some black pepper, heavy pinch of salt, and a little bit of vinegar. Okay, give it a mix. All right, let me try this. That tastes just like buttermilk ranch. All right, so now I'm gonna make my vegan buttermilk for my chicken strips. I'm gonna pour in 1.5 cups of almond milk, unsweetened. I'm gonna add in about 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar. So I'm gonna let my buttermilk hang out, get nice and thick, and I need to refrigerate my ranch while that happens. All right, so I got my whole dredging table here set up. I have my firm tofu that's been sitting in that chicken broth. I have my buttermilk here. I got 2 cups of flour, 1/4 cup of cornstarch to really help flour adhere to that tofu, and lemon pepper seasoning, just a pinch of salt, and a little bit more pepper. From the chicken broth to the buttermilk to the seasoned flour. So I'm gonna fry it up in vegetable oil, and it's gonna have that same crispy texture on the outside that you get with your standard chicken strip, and the inside is gonna have that flavor of like a chicken nugget. Of course, it's not gonna pull apart like your chicken breast, but it's gonna have a soft crunch to it on the inside like dark meat chicken. All right, so my tofu is breaded. Now I have my vegetable oil here that I have heated up to about 350 degrees. I'm just gonna fry it until it's golden brown, but I'm not frying it, of course, to cook it all the way through because you don't need to cook tofu through. Normally when I'm frying chicken, I'll kind of use my spider and move it all around. I don't wanna do that with tofu because it can be easily broken. So I just wanted to float, let it fry, and then take it out to reduce the risk of breaking it in half. So my chicken strips are nice and golden brown and crispy. I'm gonna dip these in the ranch and they're gonna taste just like that 10-piece lemon pepper combo that all the folks in Atlanta love.
Tequila lime chicken. It's like Jeffrey's favorite Friday night roast chicken, but with the volume turned up. What I'm doing is I'm gonna make a marinade for the boneless chicken breasts, and it's gonna make them taste so fabulous. So the first thing is a 1/2 cup of tequila, always helps. And the next is freshly squeezed lime. It's really important. None of that bottled stuff. You really do need freshly squeezed lime juice. It makes all the difference in the world. So 1 cup of freshly squeezed lime juice. That actually also tenderizes the chicken. 1/2 cup of orange juice to give it a little sweetness. Chili powder to give it heat. 1 tablespoon. If you want more heat, you can use more chili powder. That smells so good. Tablespoon of chopped garlic to give it spice. And this is the key ingredient, jalapeno pepper. It's really hot. I'm gonna show you how this works. So you slice right in the middle, and what's really hot is the seeds. So I'm just gonna take the seeds out. And while you're working on this pepper, be sure that you don't touch anything you really care about before you wash your hands because it's incredibly hot. Don't rub your eye. What I'm gonna do is just chop this finely. I like the tequila lime chicken to have a little bit of heat, but I don't want to have 3rd-degree burns when we're done. So that goes right in. It's gonna be so good. Two teaspoons of salt. Teaspoon of ground black pepper. And then the last thing is chicken. So I've got 6 boneless chicken breasts. I actually like them with the skin on. I think they stay moister. So I asked the butcher to take the bone off, but leave the skin on. And I'm just gonna put them in the marinade. The great thing about this is not only is it good to leave it overnight, but it's actually the more it sits in the marinade, the better it tastes. So it's a wonderful thing to do for entertaining. So that's tequila lime chicken. It's gonna be so good on the grill.
Lemon caper deviled eggs.
I love that.
Oh, I love deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs just scream spring, too. I think that they've got to be on your spring table for a feast,
I would
for
agree.
sure. It's not a party at my house without deviled eggs. I've maybe made them on here once or twice, but, you know, gonna do a little different version. So, I've got my boiled egg whites here. What I like to do is I make this completely, and then before serving, that's when I fill it. So I cut the eggs. I've got a few left here. Separate the yellow and the white.
Is that a 12-minute egg, Katie?
I usually do about 10 minutes, actually. You know, I like to bring the water to a boil and then add the eggs.
Yep.
I think that makes it a lot easier to peel. I always get questions on social media
Plus, you don't get that
about
green
peeling
funky
eggs.
thing around.
Yeah, I think that that's
the
the
secret.
easiest way to do it. So just pop those out, and then I put them in my deviled egg plate because I have a deviled egg plate. I love those.
Of course you do.
I got it at a yard sale.
Of course you did.
And this, I just cover in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge until it's serving time. Now let's get started on our filling. So into the food processor. I like creamy deviled eggs, so I use a food processor.
Do you need this
can
chopped?
use just a fork though. Yeah, I'm gonna use that for garnish, so just give me like a rough chop on it.
Rough chop in.
And also zest that lemon for me, because these are lemon caper deviled eggs.
Of course.
So I always do a quick pulse of the yolks first before I add in the mayonnaise. I think it gives you a better texture. It helps you achieve that creaminess faster. Mayonnaise. Now, I suppose if you wanted to be lighter, I have done this before, you use half Greek yogurt, half mayonnaise. So it does work. And then I'm gonna add in a clove of grated garlic.
I like the Greek yogurt, or even maybe sour cream idea.
Sour cream would work
half
too.
and half.
Yeah. It adds just a little tang to it that's nice. Yellow mustard. I love yellow mustard. Again, I think it adds a nice tang. You could totally use Dijon in this. Capers. I love that brininess of the caper. A little salt, little pep. Lemon zest. So this just brightens the whole thing up. All right, so now I'm gonna puree this until it gets nice and creamy. All right, so now time to transfer this. Now, if you have a fancy pastry piping bag, which I never do, you can use it, or you can just take a gallon zip top bag, put it into a glass. That makes this so much easier to put it into a glass. And then transfer it. Because if you're trying to hold the bag and transfer, it just gets everywhere.
You'll be left holding the bag.
Yeah. All right, so slowly in.
You know what I'm thinking of right now? Like, wouldn't that be a great spread for like a ham sandwich?
Oh my gosh,
So
that'd be
good.
so good.
I love deviled eggs, just so we're clear.
all day.
Right?
Yeah, I can't ever get enough.
All right, there we go. Now, just gonna close this up.
Need a scissor?
Uh-huh. And this is how you make your own little
That's a clever
piping
idea,
bag.
right?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
this. If you don't have a pastry bag,
Yeah,
You know, there you go.
don't need it. And then just snip off the very end. Okay. Now it's time to fill. So what I do, I put this into the refrigerator. This is in the refrigerator just before serving time. Get it out, snip that end, and fill up your eggs. Just like that. Aren't they pretty? I've got some paprika here. I'm gonna just do a little, ooh, a lot came out. Oh gosh. We're getting crazy with a couple
Getting
of
crazy.
these. All right, I'm gonna hit them with some parsley. You know, I get questions about, you did a real rough chop on this
You
parsley.
said rough chop.
Yeah. Teasing. I get a lot of questions when I post deviled eggs on my deviled egg plate about what you're supposed to do in the middle here. You can fill it up with more eggs, or I like to put a little crudité in there. So like maybe some sliced radishes and celery, and if you have extra of your egg filling, put a little in the center and put some radishes around it. People can
Little
dip
dip.
in it. Or if you don't want to do that, put this in the fridge and like Jeffrey said, put it on a ham sandwich.
Oh my God,
Delicious. Yeah.
so good. Best condiment in the
Delicious.
world.
All right, Alex, would you like a deviled egg? I'll serve
course.
you.
Of course. I'm gonna take a really
Little
heavily.
paprika one.
Yeah, it's a verb to paprika.
It is. Jeffrey, would you like a deviled
Yeah,
egg?
sure. Could I have one with mint?
I might go
peas.
fork with this.
I'll do this. Oh. I'm gonna go spoon.
You know what's so funny? I ate with a fork. He ate with a spoon, and you took it in your hands.
Yeah.
Deviled eggs are so personal. You know what I love? The white is just pure. And then the caper just comes in with this salty punch. You get that little bit of spice on top. It's so beautifully balanced and seasoned. The lemon
Yeah.
The parsley, the capers.
It's one of the best deviled eggs I've ever had.
So on my chili-lime fried chicken, I'm working with some chilies. I've got dried chilies here. All right, so I'm gonna let these kind of toast and get warm in my pan here. All right, so I've got my chicken out of the fridge. It's a whole chicken cut up, and I brined it in some water. Brining is something that you can do. It's kind of like a marinade, but it's just usually water, salt, and something else. I do sugar to kind of keep it a little sweet, because we've got the chili-lime thing going on. I also put some lime juice in there. And just soak it overnight. It helps it stay nice and moist. I'm gonna get some limes because that's gonna go into my chili lime fried chicken. Just the zest though. All the essential oils, really, really good. All right, so I've got the rest of that in there. Just about a teaspoon of garlic powder. You don't wanna use fresh garlic because we're frying here and it's just not good to fry. Get all brown and bitter. And then I'm just gonna get in my chilies here, toasted really quick. They're gonna be a little bit moist because the oil is coming to life. And then just a little pinch of salt, and I'm gonna blitz. And that's it. Look at this. All right, so this is perfect. I'm gonna get this into my bowl and ready to coat my chicken. Oh, you can smell it now. All right, come on, babies. One whole chicken cut up. Well, you know, 4 people could eat this. I'm just gonna go ahead and massage the flavor into my chicken here. 2 eggs in here. And then to this, I'm gonna add just a little bit of milk, kind of loosen up the eggs. And this is gonna be kind of like the mid-station for the dredging as far as my fried chicken goes. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to that, just to season it up a bit. I like to season all around. Remember, my rub has a little bit of salt, the lime zest, my chilies that I toasted up in there, and some garlic powder. And then I also am gonna put some salt in my dry part of the dredge, which is gonna be flour and my grandma's new favorite ingredient when she fries chicken, cornstarch. Who knew grandma was watching and learning? I just love it. I love my grandma. She makes the best cornbread. All right, so I've got some flour in here, and then I've got some cornstarch. Now this is the new ingredient for my grandma, but I've been doing this for quite a while. It creates air bubbles. I learned this from a lot of Asian cooking and frying. It's usually just 100% cornstarch. Let me just put a little bit more. When it hits the heat, the pockets that it creates what you really love about fried chicken, which is the crunch. All right, so here again, some salt, and maybe a little pinch of pepper as well. Now I've got some oil in my pan over there that's getting nice to temperature, 360 degrees, but we want to fry in the safety zone at 350. But the cool thing about 360, once you add in your first pieces of chicken, it'll kind of go down a few degrees, and it'll get you right to the zone that you want to be in. All right, so first things first, into the flour cornstarch mixture. And then what I want to do is get it into my egg and milk mixture right here, and then right back into my bag. Let me get this out. Look at this. Wee. I'm gonna get it right back into my bag with a nice little shake. Got a wing there. Some good stuff. And don't worry about the chilies. It's not super spicy, but it's got this great smoky undertone of chili flavor. All right, so one last little shake, and then I'm gonna come over here and get them into my oil. Don't overcrowd the situation. Just shake it up and get it in. Shake it up like Rick Ocasek. I'm showing my age. All right, right into the oil. What we're going for here is 350 degrees. You don't want to have it too high. It'll cook the outside first and then not the inside, and that'll make everybody sick at the game. Brined and juicy. It's coated in super crunchy dried chili breading with a drizzle of, honey.
Citrus chicken and rice bowls. I'm gonna make a quick pickled slaw. I'm gonna combine 1 cup of water along with half a cup of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of sugar. Now I'll bring this to a simmer. I've got some carrots and a daikon radish, and now I'll pour my brine right over them. Stick them in the fridge for a good 30 minutes. Next up, I'll grab my chicken thighs and a bag to marinate them in. I'll add my garlic, some soy sauce. I love sesame oil. And now I'm gonna add the juice of an orange and the juice of a lime. And I'm gonna stick it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. Now I'm gonna whip up some sriracha mayo for my rice bowls. I have my grill pan heating, and I'm gonna add some olive oil so that it doesn't stick. This is looking perfect. I'll start with a scoop of brown rice, some chicken, some hoisin sauce, my sriracha mayo, my slaw, some cucumbers, some cilantro, and jalapenos. I'm gonna finish this with a lime wedge.
There's so many flavors in here.
I got some chicken stock and some fresh lemon right there. And my protein is gonna be chicken, and then of course my starch will be orzo. So let's make the sauce. So we're pouring a couple cups of good chicken stock in here, low sodium. The zest and juice from a couple lemons, right? Because you want that strong lemony flavor. A little cornstarch to kind of help thicken it up there in the oven when it cooks. Beautiful. So now we got a little fresh garlic in there. Another traditional flavor of that, Greek-style lemon soup, a little fresh dill.
Oh, yeah.
Put it in
Wow, this
there.
is gonna be bananas.
And to bump up the fat in here, just a little bit of melted butter. We're just gonna whisk this together. We got our sauce. It was that easy, right? A lot of stuff we already have in the house. Of course, a little salt and pepper. So let me get my starch here, which is that orzo, if you don't mind, right? And this cooks a lot quicker than rice a lot of times. It's actually not a grain, it's a pasta, so you wanna make sure you don't overcook it. It can get mushy. We're just gonna put it all on the bottom there. We got this beautifully seasoned sauce in here. We're just gonna pour that directly on there. All right, and all kind of settle. No need to get too crazy with trying to get in there even. Just give it one little stir. Which we're just using 4 whole chicken breasts, about 2 pounds. And we're gonna season this with a little coriander, some black pepper, and some salt. We're gonna mix that up and just hit every side of that chicken with it.
Coriander is so underutilized, man. It's just so floral and green.
It really
and
is.
all
We're just
that.
gonna nestle it right in there.
This is
Right
gonna
there.
be good, Jeff.
Jeff, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna really look nice too. Great presentation.
Because I see those lemon slices.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do with these lemon slices?
Yep.
We're gonna kind of shingle these in here. And it's good to go in the oven, 375 for about 35 minutes. All right, a little bit of fresh parsley on top there. Maybe a little lemon on the side if you want to squeeze some extra lemon.
That looks so pretty, Jeff.
And you can, obviously, this is perfect for a family of 4, but if you want to like kind of cut it.
This is a classy casserole.
And you'll see it's got the creaminess of that soup without the egg in there, right?
What's wrong with eggs?
No, nothing. I'm just like, we didn't have to start cooking eggs in it.
Oh, I see what
Just
you're
gotta be, it was simple. Beautiful.
Is that for me?
I'm gonna let you have a knife.
Right? It smells lemony.
That's bright.
Lemon orzo, perfect, on point, exceptionally cooked, and also it made, if you see this, it just made its own sauce. It's like perfect, fantastic, really delicious.
I'm working on an article for Food Network magazine about flavor. I promised them 3 recipes, 2 down, 1 to go. So my 3rd recipe is lemon capellini with roasted shrimp, and you're not going to believe how easy this is. I've got 2 pounds of shrimp. They're large shrimp. They're peeled and deveined. Watch this. This is the best way to make cooked shrimp. Olive oil, salt, pepper. Toss them together. Forget big pots of boiling water. This makes the most flavorful shrimp. Into the oven, 400 degrees, 6 to 8 minutes, and they're gonna be perfectly cooked shrimp. Okay, while those roast, I'm gonna make the pasta. But in order to have delicious pasta, it's gotta have salt and oil in it. So, lots of salt. I want it to have great flavor. Big splash of oil so it doesn't stick together. Okay, and 1 pound of capellini, which is this really fine pasta. 3 minutes. Give it a big stir. Okay, while that cooks, I'm gonna make the sauce. And this is really easy. 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 4 tablespoons of butter for flavor, always tastes better. I'm gonna do the zest and juice of 2 lemons. And all the oils and the zest are gonna get into the pasta. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, so that's the lemon zest. Now that just the juice. I'm gonna do the juice of 2 lemons. So this says a double hit of lemon. Okay, 2 teaspoons of salt. Make sure it really tastes lemony. 1 teaspoon of pepper. And I mean, that's the sauce. How easy is that? I'm just gonna drain the pasta and put it right into the sauce. I love making the sauce in a big pan and then putting the pasta in, because then it sort of soaks in and you can cook it for a minute together. Whoa. Now that's a lot of pasta. Okay, right over and into the sauce. Okay. Just toss it all together. I'm just gonna cook here for a second while I go get the shrimp. Amazing, 7 minutes and it does it perfectly. So right into the pan, toss them all together. Give it a little toss. Yeah. Oh, this looks great. I think I'm just gonna send them a photograph of the entire pan, but a little bit of lemon zest on the top so it looks like lemon. Do we think there's enough lemon in this? Okay, ready for its close-up. So one of the perks of my job is I get to eat what I test. Why do I think the photographers in New York will be doing the same thing?
My 3 citrus chicken with compound butter. I gotta go big with this. I gotta do 3 citrus. Pink grapefruit, orange, lemon. So I zest them all, okay? Hold that zest off for this great compound butter. But then I take all the citrus, cut it into rounds, drop it into 2 resealable bags because I got bone-in chicken and I don't want to poke through the side. So we got the citrus in there, 2 cups of fresh squeezed OJ, and you know the difference. You know how it looks and smells, the great flavor it has. A little bit of salt and pepper, fresh cracked black pepper. And then here's a real kiss, is some Dijon mustard. There we go. I need some olive oil. Get some olive oil into that. That'll help coat that. Bring all these flavors and really wrap it around. And then a little bit of garlic. A little rough chop. Okay. Now, before I put the chicken in, I want to get there and kind of work this together, because with that bone in the chicken, you know, kind of the ribs sticking out sometimes, that will get a little, that'll puncture, and I don't want to lose all this marinade. So I'm kind of squeezing it a bit, kind of working out some of the citrus. Look at these nice big, full breasts, bone in, okay? Looking for all that, because all that bone, all that is flavor. So we'll drop those in. You know, just go right ahead and make triple the batch. It's gonna be so worth it because you'll love this. And you wanna talk about a great chicken to put on a salad, you know, because it's got all of its own flavor. And when that chicken's got the flavor, you don't need all that extra dressing. Okay, so now we work that in there. So look at that marinated, the garlic, the salt, the pepper, a little bit of that Dijon working around in there, like a little bit of tang from that. Now, I only need to let this marinate for about 45 minutes. I'm gonna set it upside down, kind of move it a few times, going back and forth. But all that citrus, all that marinade, everything's gonna happen in there. A drying rack for this. Remember, this chicken over here has a little Dijon, a little garlic, salt and pepper, a little olive oil, and then a ton of citrus. So we've got the pink grapefruit, which you gotta love that. You don't see enough recipes with pink grapefruit in it. We'll pull these. Bone in, skin on. So we'll pull these out. A little touch of some salt and pepper. And a really hot grill. Now, let's say that you want to do this during the holidays, or you're doing it in the winter time, or you're not in California and it's not sunny. What can you do with this? You could sear these off in a pan, because we're going to actually finish them in the oven. We're not going to wait for them just to all finish right here, because we're going to be popping that compound butter on them. So we'll go down, skin side first. Nice hot coals. Look at that. Let's get into compound butter. I've got the zest of the orange, the pink grapefruit, and 2 lemons. Mix it with a little bit of butter, a shallot, a little bit of Fresno chili, some chives, some salt and pepper. Mix this together. Perfect, huh? Good looking. Chicken's working right now, just gotta keep an eye on it. And I've got this compound butter I'm gonna put on it here in a second. But look at that. Let me get this chicken off of here. So bone in, skin on, marinated in the pink grapefruit, the orange, and the lemon. Really nice mark there that I did from the grill. Now here's the cool thing. You could have done this in a pan if you were indoors and it's wintertime, but this right here on the grill is nice. I'm gonna just lay some butter right up on top. So as it cooks, it bastes in the butter. That just kind of smear on there. Oh, you talk about awesome. All that citrus just melting right on the top of it. And then I'll go into the oven, which is rolling right now, about 300 degrees, depending on where you put it, by the way. So drop this in. Okay, let that go in there. We'll let that finish off, so you can be finishing that at your oven, just going underneath 300 degrees. Check this out. We're talking comfort food. We're talking a really smoking hot pan too. Coming over, coming hot. Look at that. Marinated 3 citrus chicken. We got some orange zest, some pink grapefruit zest, and some lemon zest, all cut down into a compound butter with a little Fresno chili, and I'm talking about fantastic flavor. I marinated it in the juice, as well as Dijon mustard, hit it on the grill, finished it in the oven. Spot on. Bring this over. Eeny, meeny, miny. I like that one, okay? Bone in, skin on. Awesome flavor. Look at this. There we go. Just pulled off the bone a little bit there. That's too hot to get the rest of it off the bone. Okay. I got a plate. So I'll take this, put it right up on top. And then I reserved some of the compound butter that I didn't use on the chicken to just put it right here to just lay a little bit right on top. Like that. Tender chicken. Super citrus. Lots of flavor. That's my comfort food. What do you think, huh?
The first thing I'm gonna do is make an herb oil, which I'm gonna brush on the chicken. And it's thyme, fennel. It's gonna make it delicious. I don't know why, but in every book, there's one recipe that everybody seems to make. In Cook Like a Pro, it was red wine braised short ribs. And in Cooking for Jeffrey, it was the skillet roasted lemon chicken. Every time somebody stopped me after that book came out, they said, you know what I made? Skillet roasted lemon chicken. I was like, oh, really? Me too. Okay, so I need 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme leaves. I'm gonna grind it up in a little food processor so you don't even need to chop it. 1 and 2. I think fresh thyme for this is so important. And then 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. These are whole fennel seeds. 1 tablespoon of salt. I want it to be really well seasoned. And 1 teaspoon of coarsely ground pepper. I love this little pepper mill. Yes, I do measure everything, even my own recipes. Okay, I'm just gonna grind all this up. And when you grind it up, the oil from the fennel seeds really flavors it. Okay, that's the seasoning mixed. So the next is 1/3 cup of olive oil. And the seasoning mix. Just stir it together. Okay, so that's the herb oil that's gonna flavor the chicken. Okay, next I've got this huge cast iron skillet, and it's perfect for roasting this chicken. So I've got 1 onion, thinly sliced, just distributed it so it's even. I love these flavors, they're my favorite. Onions, garlic, lemon, thyme, fennel. Then 2 cloves of garlic that I've thinly sliced. I'm just gonna distribute them around. And 1 lemon. I sliced it in half and then sliced it thinly, so they're like in half rounds. And what's amazing about this, when the chicken cooks on top of it, the juices and the white wine that I'm gonna put in and the onions, they all cook together, and you can eat the whole lemon, rind and all. It's so good. Okay, that's the bottom of it. Next is the chicken. So what I did was I asked the butcher to butterfly a chicken, which means you take out the backbone and kind of lay it flat. And that way it's very even and it cooks really quickly. So I'm gonna take some paper towels and just pat dry the skin. If the skin is dry, and then I'm gonna put the herb olive oil on, it gets nice and brown. Just what you want the chicken to do. I buy my chicken from a local chicken farm called Iacona. Everybody loved Mr. Iacona. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but his wife Eileen is. He used to have a goose named Shadow who would follow him around. I guess the goose loved him too. They'd go from the house to the store and back to the house together. Okay, so I'm gonna put this upside down, skin side down, on the onions and the lemon and garlic, and brush half the oil right on the chicken. It's gonna flavor it incredibly well. This is a great dish for entertaining because you can really assemble it in advance. I mean, never mind, it's so fast to make. And put the whole thing in the refrigerator and then just throw it in the oven before dinner. I've done it many times. When I'm really in a hurry and I don't have much time to make dinner for friends, Skillet lemon chicken is on the menu. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this over. Make sure all the lemons and onions are in the bottom of the pan. And then put the rest of the herb olive oil on top so the skin gets nice and brown and the chicken's beautifully flavored. Actually, I like to serve this with roasted broccolini and couscous, both of which take no time at all to make. And the sauce from the chicken and all of that together is just fantastic. Okay, that's ready. I'm just gonna put it in the oven, 450 degrees for 45 minutes. It's a hot oven, but it cooks fast. And then about 30 minutes in, I'm gonna take some white wine and just put it around it, and it's gonna make the most delicious sauce. Okay, into the oven. Oh, that's a big baby. So when the 30 minutes is up, I'll pour a half a cup of white wine around the chicken, not on it, otherwise the skin won't brown, and cook it for another 15 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm heading out to the herb garden. So while the chicken cooks, let's take a tour of the garden. It's such a beautiful day. So this is where I work, and that's where I live. Big commute. I have to get myself from there to here every morning. It's great. And actually I have a fire pit in the middle, which is great on a cool night. In the beginning, we made so many s'mores, it was ridiculous. And then we finally thought, I don't need to eat another s'more. So let's come around here. And then there's this little porch that we call like sunset cocktail porch. The sun comes through the trees here and we have cocktails at sunset, which is really nice. And then my little herb garden. I love this garden. So first I have figs, and I actually have some figs, which is amazing. You can see them right here. And I use the leaves for cheese platters and decorating. They're great. So I've got sage and oregano, lavender. I love the lavender. Oh, the sounds of East Hampton. Private jets coming in. Oh, the country. Let's see, let's go this way. And I've got big tomatoes in the corners, more sage, more lavender. These are great. I love these little tomatoes. They're called green zebra, and they're actually ripe when they're green. So let me find a nice ripe one right there. And they look fantastic on a salad plate. Big sliced salads. Oh, we have the sprinkler going off. Okay, let's go into the shade garden. So this is all big crepe myrtles, and they give shade to the ground. So we have ferns and hostas and astilbe, all kinds of shade plants. And I love these white hostas. They're called standard. They're really beautiful. Only white flowers allowed here. And my little splashing fountain garden. I like the sound of the splashing because it's just sort of like nice country sound. And the biggest rosemary plant ever. This actually wintered over from last year because it wasn't so cold. And I need fresh rosemary for the chicken. Lots of it. Okay, into the house of the chicken. Come with me. It's nice and cool in here. I smell chicken. It smells so good. Okay, let's see how it's doing. So, oh, this is fantastic. Look how good this looks. So it's chicken and sauce. Slam. So I'm gonna add a few things just to give it more flavor at the end. You know, as I've developed as a cook, one of the things I've learned is the thing that you add at the end that you taste first. So I always try and find something that's in the dish, and then that flavor of the lemon is gonna be like the first thing that hits your tongue when you taste it. As it rests, it really just absorbs the flavor. Seeds and all. Don't worry about the seeds. People will know it's real lemon. Okay, so the juice of one lemon. And just to give this a little more flavor, and I have lots of rosemary outside, I thought I'd add just a little bit of rosemary. So it's got thyme, and it's got fennel, garlic, onion, just a little bit of rosemary, just to give it extra flavor. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. Rosemary is really strong, so you don't want too much. Just enough to give it another layer of flavor. This is the kind of chicken that even if you're a first-time cook, you can make. And if you're an experienced cook, you'd be happy to make. Okay, just a little sprinkling of rosemary on the top. This is gonna be great. Okay, now I'm gonna let it rest. 15 minutes, and all the flavors kind of get back into the chicken, all the juices, and it's just so much moisture and more delicious. Can't wait. Time to carve the chicken. It smells great. I wish you could smell it. And the best part of this chicken is you don't have to carve it the way you usually carve a chicken. All I do is cut it in quarters. And that's one of the best things about butterflying it. It's like really easy to cut in quarters. Isn't this amazing? I love the way it looks. It's the perfectly browned chicken and all that gorgeous sauce underneath. And you can put it on a platter, but I like the rustic kind of feeling of just serving it right out of the pan. Everybody can just help themselves. I'm just gonna spoon the sauce right over the chicken so everybody gets chicken and sauce all together. And this is the amazing thing about this dish, is you actually get cooked lemon. It's really tender and it caramelizes with the onions. Look at that sauce, isn't that great? I actually like the sauce as much as the chicken. That is so good. This might actually be my favorite chicken of all times.